Hi guys, Ted Elsner, Sacramento Historical Fencing Academy. It's a lovely windy day here in California, and today I wanted to follow up with a little bit more talking about that most popular of subjects that we always need to spend more time on, footwork. And specifically today, the question that I want to answer, or I guess really ask rather than answer, is when is a step not a step? So the reason that I was curious about this particular topic of when a step isn't a step, again, comes back to that conversation that's ongoing about silver and its new interpretation. We're not going to get into that specifically, but one of the elements of it is finding the place and stepping into the place. And should we attack with a step or should we not attack with a step? Is true time only attacking when we can move our hand without moving our feet unless we're stepping backwards? Or can we do a true time attack by moving the hand first and then stepping forward, right? These are questions that show up in a number of different systems, a number of different arts, and it impacts us on, what we're doing with Meyer. So, for instance, one of the big questions, right, is what qualifies as a step? A gathering step, I think, is a step. A passing step is a step. Is a lunge a step? Does that count? Is it just a movement of the feet? So is it just a movement of the feet, or is there a bigger requirement for something to be a step than just that, right? And so that's going to be kind of what I want to look at today. So let's start by looking at the things that we probably can absolutely agree on are steps, all right? I'm going to move over to the side a little bit, and we'll throw up a little side view just so we can see what's going on here. So, all right, so let's talk about things that we would agree qualify as a step, right? So the first one is the most normal step that we're going to ever do, and that's a passing step. Now, the way that we do it, of course, is going to be with a hip engagement as we pass forward, but we are definitely taking a step there, right? I think we can all agree that a passing step is going to result in a step. Okay, all right, so that's one. The next one, the gathering step. So for the gathering step, we gather our feet and we extend, or we gather our feet and we extend, right? So a gather or a pass. Both of those we count as steps. What are some other steps that appear in Meyer's system? Well, there's the triangle step, right? Where I can be standing before my opponent and an attack comes in, so I might pass my left leg behind my right and turn. Is that a step? Okay. That starts to create a bit of an issue. Now, often what will have happen when we use a gathering step is we'll turn to receive the attack, and then we'll finish with a simple step forward. In essence, creating a gathering step, right? My turn and extension. It's a gathering step. It's a small gathering step, but it's definitely one there. What else do we have? Meyer has the false step. Okay, the false step. So I turn, and I step through across the line, and then I correct around, run into my pel. So that's a step. So what then isn't a step, right? Well, Meyer has the broken or stolen steps that he refers to. And with those, he tells us that we will start to step forward, act as though we're going to step forward, and then instead of stepping forward, step back. So how, right? Are we gathering forward and then gathering back? Are we gathering forward and lifting a foot, but then putting it behind us, right? If I gather and lift but step back, or I gather, lift my foot and step back, is that a step? He calls it one, but it's a broken step or a stolen step. What else do we have? Well, we have the lunge, right? Not something that Meyer explicitly calls a lunge, but definitely shows his flying thrust that ends in a lunge position. You see it in the first plate of the rapier, which let's take a look at. Right, so you can see in that we have a very much an extended position. Is that a step? If I'm in my guard and I kick my foot forward, have I taken a step or have I just lunged? So we have these different options, these different elements. Which of them are steps? Which of them aren't steps? What defines something as a step or not for us? I'm going to tell you the way that I view whether or not something is actually a step or not, as the case may be, even though in English we'll call them both. I think, and as always, guys, you're welcome to disagree with this down in the comments. I think it matters when our rear foot gains a new position. That's what defines whether or not something really is a step. That really then is going to be a concern for the use of the true times, tempo, indes, whatever we want to talk about. But for our purposes, if I bring my foot forward and I put it back down, I haven't taken a step. I have perhaps done a provocation, or I've otherwise implied something, but I haven't actually moved, right? If I turn my hip, I haven't yet taken a step, although I'm totally prepared to do so. And in fact, when I then move my foot forward in a passing step, it becomes a step. So I could, though, strike in and step back to step. I could strike and strike without taking a step, even though I might say, well, I've taken a step without moving, because English is a terrible language. I could lunge, pa, and then recover, and lunge and recover. But I'm not actually taking a step because I haven't changed my distance with my rear foot. If I gather and lunge, well, yes, in that case, it's becoming an actual step. So let's then look at the place in terms of what we want to do. If I attack or respond and you're close enough that I can reach you with a lunge, right? If I'm here and you've moved close enough, now I can't reach out and touch, okay? But from here, if I extend and step, the lunge easily can finish, right? Push, and we're through, no problem. One-handed weapon, absolutely, very easy to reach. If I could gather and reach, well, wait a second, I can't reach. Yes, I can, right? Have I taken a step? No, I haven't. But I can move forward, I can move back. There are certain distances that occur when we're fighting that we'll sometimes call stepping, but don't necessarily meet our requirement of a step. Although I should note, right, on that action where if I'm out of range and I step back to gain distance, well, by my definition of the rear foot placement, maybe that's a step, right? I can lunge by throwing my rear foot out and extending my body forward in a counterbalance. So back to this question of true times and false times. Sometimes there is that distance where my motion forward may be shorter than their motion coming in from the side. If I have my point in line and my opponent has their point off to the side, my distance, even with a forward motion, is shorter than their counterstrike from the side. So when is a step not a step? When you don't need to move the relative distance of your rear foot is really, I think, what I'm saying at the end of the day here. I have to work into that distance, though, right? And so that's where we get back to the initial idea of gaining the place that we can attack from. This will be something that we're going to continue to follow up on. It's generating some thoughts and interesting topics and conversation. So guys, as always, if you've enjoyed this video today, hit the like button, subscribe to us, turn on the notifications about when we have new videos going up there every day. We should have even more coming down the pipe here really, really soon. But leave a comment, tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Am I off base? Let me know. We'll see you next time, guys.